is start a Watchman program. Now, you may there is a Watchman on the Wall series out there, and it's for pastors and stuff like this. I'm talking about that for the specific church protector, for the person who's doing safety and security for others at their church. And then the Watchman program kind of looks like this. If you look at Ezekiel 33:6, it says this: if the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet to warn the people, and the sword comes and takes someone's life, that person's life will be taken because of their sin, but I will hold the watchmen accountable for their blood. God wasn't making any bones about it right there. He tells us as watchmen, we are to blow the trumpet. We're to sound the alarm. And so if the Watchman program looks like this at your church, you figure out in your church safety and security team the times that you can do this and how often, and the frequency you want to do this, whether it's weekly, once a day, whatever it looks like. Then you call up to your local police department. Look, I don't know what jurisdictions you live in, but by and large, the police departments and sheriff's departments in our nation are really overtaxed right now. We're not necessarily overtaxed by traffic stops and stuff like that as much as we are domestic violence, which is on the rise, of course, in the times we're living in right now. So if you would call and get somebody in charge at your local police department and say, hey, I am in charge of our safety and security at church here, this church. I would like to have one of my team members go once a week to the church, walk the grounds, check the doors, and make sure there's no criminal activity or no criminal activity has occurred there, because we're virtually doing all our sermons right now and it's largely unoccupied. Would you mind if I helped you out in your job in protecting property? And I would say almost 99.9% of the time, those police departments are going to respond positively to that. And now you may want to give them a list, and you provide that to them of who it is. So if a police officer didn't get the memo, he was on vacation, didn't know this was going on, stops one of your team members and asks for identification, they can call back to dispatch. Your team member can say, hey, we've already made sure this was okay with your police department. We have a list at your dispatch center, and then we can figure out if this is a good guy or a bad guy. So look into starting a Watchman program. I think that's very vital in these times, because in one of my other posts I put out there, now is the time when criminals are paying attention to us. They're paying attention to those high dollar items that they know you have in your church, whether it's the AV equipment, it's all the computers and monitors you have, it's all the TVs you have on walls all over the place. It's the pastor stuff, the headsets, the microphones, everything in there that's a high dollar item should be accounted for, number one, as you saw in the training. But number two, we want to make sure we're protecting against theft or loss of that. So we'll walk around our churches. We'll look for things out of place, large rocks someone can pick up and put through one of our windows, cinder blocks out of place, ladders leaning up against the wall, which just invites somebody to get up on our roof. Anything that a criminal can use to their advantage, they're going to use. And we want to make sure we, number one, walk around our church looking with the eyes of a criminal, and just look for those tools that they may use, or look for ways or pathways into your church. And then we start mitigating those. We start closing them down if they exist. Tug on all the doors, make sure it's secure. Should take you less than an hour. Document that, the day and time that you went there, who went there. Send that to the team leader. You keep the notes of that, file that with the church, and you're good to go. Start a Watchman program at your church. It's the right thing to do. Gets people out of their houses, gets them really committed to the church as they already were, and gets them walking around the church. Makes them feel good about themselves.